What's up, y'all? Now that season 4 is right around the corner, I'm just going to talk about my current, but I'm basically just going to talk about my setup and how I have my setup and what works for me. And you can just take this as information. You don't have to change your setup at all. I'm just going to tell you why I made the decisions that I made, and it's going to increase all my setup because I'm going to have an extra ability to put on, and I'm going to have a couple of extra nightmares to put on. But I'm just going to tell you that I've been using this setup for the last 2 weeks, and it works out for me flawlessly. So let's get right into it. Now, I have a couple of different loaders that I tried, but this is the one that I landed on. Now, my score streaks is Bulldozer, Eagle Eye, and Berserker. Bulldozer because I like the fact that I like everything about it. I love the fact you're a little bit more protected by having what having Bulldozer. That means I'm always going to have at least one plate. It's always going to have that regen one plate, and it doesn't sound like that good at first. Oh, it's going to only regen one plate. I'm like, me running around, that means every time I get into a gunfight, I'm always going to have at least one plate. And that's going to actually make a lot more sense a little bit in a minute when I explain the other abilities, but it works out perfectly. I love the fact that I have point blank. So that means that whatever damage that I'm doing, if I'm up close, I'm going to multiply that number on top of that. So I like the fact that point blank, you got to make sure, like, some of these multipliers are very specific. There's some, like in Warband, that does more damage to multiple kills. And even what my other ability, Eagle Eye, is going to do more rampage to multiple enemies. This doesn't have to be multiple enemies. This one is basically going to say whatever numbers that I'm seeing, whether they're hit markers that are white, hit markers that are yellow, we're going to take this number and multiply it because you are using point blank. That's all it does. Real simple. This right here, let me see, you're going to deal more damage when your health is low. There's nothing wrong with that. So there's another multiplier that I kind of forgot about. So it's actually pretty good. And I love the fact that when I'm playing zombies, I like to use tackle. I like to use flopper. And flopper has this ability, score streak, to do multipliers. This one, it does the most multipliers. So I love the fact that it has a lot of different multipliers. And so basically there's a lot of times when you're going to be able to deal more damage. But I'm going to get back to this in a minute. The last skill streak that I wanted to go with is I love Berserker. What I love about Berserker is I'm going to do more rapid damaging. It's going to, whatever gun, if you have a gun that shoots a little bit on the slow side, it's going to basically increase the fire rate of whatever weapon that you have. So that works out perfectly. But I even like this actually more than the fast firing rate. This right here is absolutely broken right now because this one, every time I'm shooting into an enemy, I get some of my armor back. And it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in case you didn't know, in order to get armor in this game, you got to kind of like shoot an enemy until you see an ammo thing fall down. And the ammo thing, for some reason, that you give you ammo, but it also gives you one plate also. It's kind of like punched in there. So basically, if you see like a little small thing that has ammo, you walk past it, and you will have ammo, but you also have one plate. So you can keep getting them. It's just that the point is I have to keep getting it and keep reloading. And sometimes I'm reloading that, I'm plating up that one plate as I'm trying to shoot into the enemy. And by the fact that I have regen plates, that basically means that if I get into a really good gunfight with multiple enemies, the more that I keep shooting them, the more I keep getting my armor back without having to pick up their armor on the ground at all. It just basically, it says killing enemies regens your armor. So it works out perfectly for me. As far as giving you a boost with critical hits and all of that, that actually helps a little bit, I guess, but I care about these two a little bit more. I do love the fact that it has fall damage resistance. I don't have to worry about dying because I fell off the building the wrong way or something like that. And when I fall down, it actually creates an explosion. So if I fly somewhere and I'm going to a particular destination, there's a chance there might be enemies down there. But by me falling down, create the explosion, I'm going to kill that enemy. just by landing in a spot that I was going to land anyway. So this actually works out pretty good for me. Now I'm going to talk about my gun. The major and minor abilities. Basically, I think everybody should use Crash Cart. That's absolutely broken. It's like having a self-revive on top of a self-revive. And to me, I think that your minor should be a personal preference. There are times when I use the grappling hook. There's times when I use the kinetic jump. I think you can choose whatever one you want. As for me personally, I tried them both, and I like the kinetic jump more. I have a buddy that tried them both, and he likes the grappling hook more. So it's literally all about personal preference. Now, as far as my exotic skills go, let me just say this, right? I got gravitation, and I also have frost, frost vortex. Now, let me just say one thing about this. I love Shattered Shield. I use Shattered Shield. It's pretty good. I wanted to test out something else to see if it's another thing that's actually pretty good for crowd control, or something that can help me out a little bit in a different way. So I basically wanted to test out another one. So I tried this one, and it's actually pretty good. But I think I like Shattered Shield more. So this one is pretty good because it protects you in a different way. There are times when there's an enemy shooting at me from a distance. I don't even know where he's shooting from, and this basically kills him just because the gravitational thing kind of like kicks in. So it actually works out pretty well. So it's not just when an enemy is meleeing you. When an enemy is shooting at you, he can disappear also to a black hole. So this is actually pretty good. Is it better than Shattered Shield? No. But I'm just saying that if you if you finished a nightmare or an exotic skill and you didn't see Shattered Shield, but you saw this instead, this is a good contender. So that's how I feel about that. As far as the nightmare goes, right now I feel like the best nightmare for me, a problem dealing with the crowd control. So I based my weapons, right? In case you remember, I didn't talk about the weapons yet, but basically, I have my weapons set up a certain way that they are very strong, but they don't do a lot of crowd control. So I want to specifically have a nightmare so it can bridge that gap. So I think it's kind of a toss-up between Frost Vortex and Chaos Rounds. I tried Chaos Rounds, but it was at level 1. So I wanted to max it out, see how it is. This is really good. Is it better than Chaos Rounds? I'm not sure. I'm going to try them both, and in a later video, I'll talk about which one I like the most. But just a side note, when Season 4 comes out, I'll be able to have 2 nightmares and 2 score streaks. So theoretically, I could have both of them if I wanted to. So, moving on to, now that I talked about all of this, I'm going to talk about my weapon. And I'm going to talk about a hidden ability that nobody's talking about. Something that made my weapon absolutely broken. So, I'm going to talk about my weapons for a minute. I wanted to talk about my field equipment. Basically, I tried them all. And the one that works out for me the best is stun grenades. Only because I could stun robots. I could stun enemies. I can't stun elites. But if I'm surrounded by a bunch of enemies, they're messing me up because they're shooting at me all at once. But if I use a stun grenade, I can stop them for a second, and then for that second, I can just kill them all, and then I can have a second one that can kill the rest of them. But it gets them off my back, even just for a second. I can just throw it, and I can say, okay, they're stunned for like a few seconds. Might give me a chance to reload, might give me a chance to hide somewhere else, or basically I have that one moment that I can like kill them all. So to me, it works out way better than any of the other ones that I use. But like I said, it's all about personal preference. This is the one that works for me the most. Now, to me, I think it doesn't matter what melee weapon you have, it's just personal preference. Now, as far as my secondary weapon, I heard that the second best gun in the game is the Hyper Surge. So the Hyper Surge is pretty good, but I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first started, anytime I'm shooting anything from chest up, kind of, it's the same as headshots. It's actually pretty good, but it's even better with elites, because if I'm trying to kill the if I'm trying to kill the T-Rex, for example, basically half of his body up into his head is all considered on my headshot. I see yellow hit markers on it. So that one works out for me perfectly. So I don't have mortar rounds as in fireworks. I don't have the gravitation to deal with crowd control on these weapons. Incendiary rounds, there's a lot of things on this game that don't like being burnt. So I said, you know what? I'm trying to do too many things with too many options all at once. I said, for my weapons, I wanted to make sure that they do as strong as ever, because I try to put on other things that help with crowd control too. I said, listen, let me deal with the crowd control separately. Let me deal with my guns being as strong as they possibly could separately. And let me deal with trying to survive a little bit better separately also. I want to do them all separate. So to me, it makes more sense. So as far as my guns go, like I said, incendiary rounds and sharpshooter is going to do way more damage than anything else. That's why I put them on my weapons. But there are some assault rifles that don't have that ability. In that case, I would say as the next best thing, I would say combat ready is the next best thing. But if it has sharpshooter on it, I think you should put it on, because it's going to deal more damage. Now, I'm going to go back to one of my abilities real quick, Eagle Eye. I wanted to point this out real quick. You see how it says critical hits deal more damage? Well, critical hits are the yellow hit markers only. So just to let you know, in case you didn't know, if you are shooting your weapon into the enemy and the majority of your hit markers is white instead of yellow, you're not utilizing this at all. You're not doing that extra damage from this. It's like basically, it's like you don't have it at all. So, and on top of that, just to let you know, so that's the reason why I have that on. So when I was building my actual gun, right, let me give you some pointers on how I build my gun. This doesn't matter. Putting on like something that deals more damage like this, that's not gonna matter that much, because let me just put it to you like this. When you're shooting most of your hits with like yellow hit markers, white hit markers, you might go from 475 damage to maybe 500. And it's not that much of a difference. So you might be doing damage in the hundreds when you have white street markers. By me having my setup the way it is, I'm doing abilities in the thousands, like 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000 sometimes on each hit. So this right here is not going to do a whole lot. It's better to make the gun shoot a little bit more accurately so you can make sure you can get all of those critical kills. So this is why I put this on. Now the bulldozer, this is my hitting ability that I've been using. Now, this is something that not a lot of people talks about. You see right here, it says it's a headshot multiplier. Basically, whatever headshot you do, you're gonna actually do more damage, right? But because my upper torso all acts as a headshot, this is gonna count as a headshot also. So even if I'm hitting somebody in the chest and I have yellow hit markers, it's still gonna multiply that as if I did hit them in the head. So that's my hidden secret. So this is what works for me perfectly. And I said to myself, don't get me wrong, I was doing like 4,000 or 5,000 damage, but I went to 6,000, 7,000 damage per shot. And I was like, oh, okay, why is anybody talking about this? And I said, if I figured if I made too many videos talking about this, they would nerf it. That's why I just didn't want to say nothing. So that works out for me flawlessly. I'm doing way more damage. The only drawback with my setup is I don't have a big magazine. I have to reload. So I chose to make a compromise. I would rather have a little bit less bullets, but I put this on so I can reload faster. So yeah, so I have a lot of different options. This one's gonna give you the most, but every time it's time for you to reload, it's gonna feel like it's a problem. So I said I would rather have a little bit less damage, but I can reload as fast as I could when I need to. So that's my trade-off with this. And then, like I said, I cared more about making my aim down sight even better. So I just increased my aim down sight. Whatever can increase my aim down sight, that's what I went for. This one I believe is gonna like make my movement better. but this is gonna like increase my aim down sight and my sprint to fire, so I can aim down sight faster. And this right here, I just set it up so my fire rate is a little bit faster. Like I said, that damage range and that bullet velocity, it's not gonna matter that much. It's kind of like, it's got like putting in like for example, me putting the muzzle on this right here, that's kind of like somebody worrying about hundreds of dollars when you have a chance to get thousands of dollars, and you're worried about increasing a few hundred when you have a few thousand coming in with what I got going on. I mean, I don't know if that's a bad analogy, but basically my setup is the more critical kills I hit, the more damage I'm gonna do. So I'm not concerned about this. I'm more concerned about shooting faster, so I can deal more damage because I'm shooting faster. Even if I lose a little bit of damage range, I'm gonna be shooting more faster while I'm sitting, because not all of my hits are yellow hit markers. Majority of them are, but once I get to the point when I'm at yellow hit markers, I'm gonna just focus on that area when I have the increased fire rate, and I'm doing a ton of damage. I'm knocking out a lot of things super fast. So basically, that's pretty much my setup, and that's what works for me. As for final thoughts, with this new update, I'll be able to increase this, because the only thing that's really holding me back is the fact that I can't reload fast. But if I'm able to add gunner to this, then my setup is going to be completely broken. It is the fact that I reload slow. And as far as my nightmares go, I already talked about the ones that you should use and the ones that I'm not using. But because of this new setup, I'll be able to utilize both. So I'll be able to use, for example, I'll be able to use my chaos rounds, and I'll be able to use my vortex, and I'll be able to use shattered shield, and I'll be able to use this. I'll be able to use all four of the ones that I like, the ones that are good contenders and the ones that are the best. So anyway, that's my complete setup right there, and this is what works for me. Anybody got any questions, feel free to ask anything. I'm in this video now. Check y'all later. Peace out.